you know, there may be a song we listen to, the song is basic, and we're like, man, how did that get on the radio? As far as like, how do we know we are gaining traction? Do we look at sales and stream, the number of those things? Does that prove that we are gaining traction? What proves that we are gaining good traction?
Okay, so now we get into the meat. Okay, so this is the measuring stick on whether you're going to be successful or not. And it's exactly what I said before, is you setting goals. You have to set goals. There's no way around it. Measurable goals that you can see that, hey, I started here, and if I do such and such, such and such, such and such, I'm going to be here. Okay. It's stuff to make sure that I'm not where I was when I first got started. You have to set measurable goals. That's what traction is. Remember the example that I used for the wheels, and when those claws came out, you were on one side of the obstacle. But when those claws came out, it lifted you over the obstacle, and now you're on the other side, right? Consistency says, hey, it's just spinning of the wheels, and you just spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning it. But you can't measure consistency, but you can measure traction, because what traction is setting goals. You have to figure out where are you trying to go? What are you trying to do? And what is it going to take to get to that particular goal, right? That's what traction is. And you'll know whether you're having traction is if you're actually setting those small goals and you're reaching those small goals consistently. You feel me?
Yeah. So, I mean, I know artists, they will, for example, Spotify gives you like the amount of stream numbers that people are viewing. I think that's a good thing. But is that something that, artists should really, be happy about if they have a lot of stream numbers? I just wanted to add that question, because I just wonder myself, I don't like, for me, I don't know. It can come across in different ways. It's a good accomplishment to show people that, yeah, people see my stream numbers, this is what's happening. But is that a good thing or is that a bad thing?
Depends on why you're doing it. Now, if you're doing it to show a business person or a group of people that you're serious, you're trying to get them to back you on whatever your business venture is, or your career, that's a great thing to do, because you have to show your numbers. You have to show that you're a viable entity, or you're serious about what you're doing. But if you're just putting it out there, it literally comes across as cocky. It comes across as boastful. But if you put those numbers out there and somebody with some real numbers see it, then you look like, man, this dude's a joke. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you putting that out? That makes no sense. Like you have to work in secret. You don't see Usher putting out his stream numbers. You know what I'm saying? You don't see McCray, putting out his streaming numbers and stuff like that. They're working in secret, and they're just moving. And so they're not concerned about that type of stuff. Now they talk about that stuff in meetings with their people.
Okay.
But just to put it out, and just for the sake of putting it out, they don't do that. So that's their measurable goals. Hey, I want to have 100,000 streams in a month. So that's them. And so if we have like 3, and then we're trying to get 100,000 at the end of the month, that's a measurable goal. But you don't share that measurable goal with everybody.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of artists make that mistake. I didn't want to say cocky. I didn't want to say prideful. I was like, I'm gonna let Victor say this.
It is what it is. Right? Look, come
sometimes,
see me.
Sometimes when I see it, I'm like, it doesn't come across good all the time. When I see you doing it, like, what is the reason? Is what I ask myself. So. For sure, man. I definitely. My question is, if you want to present those numbers for like a business reason, what's a proper way to show it on social media? Is there a good way to present those numbers?
Absolutely. It's literally an EPK. It's an electronic press kit. It's just an example of to a business. Let's say you're trying to get a sponsor. They want to know what your reach is for them to put their name behind you. And so you have to have not measurable. You have to have numbers to say that, hey, we're reaching such and such amount of people. Think about it. When you're on a radio station, I don't know a lot of people just trying to get on radio stations, but you have to get your ultimate goal is to get on radio stations that's reaching millions and millions and millions of people, right? How are you going to know that unless you ask, or unless they put it out there to say, hey, they're reaching such and such amount of people. But they're doing that to get people to buy their packages, to say that, hey, you pay us such and such amount of money, we'll get you this many plays, and you'll be in rotation in front of X amount of millions of people. But that's a way that, you kind of see what I'm saying? Like, that's an example of a purpose of having that out there. So just putting it out there just for GP purposes or whatever, what's the end game? Like, why are you doing that? That makes no sense. It unless you're trying to show your friends and your family and your church members and your co-workers that you seriously doing this stuff, but they don't, at the end of the day, they don't matter. They don't matter as far as your career is concerned. You can ask anybody that's successful and ask them, did the fact that their friends, family, church members, and their co-workers believing in them and what they're doing is the catalyst for their success? Or you can ask them, hey, your audience, if your audience loves you, they're going to support you. And so you have to market to them. You have to, what they say about you is going to matter more than your church members and your co-workers and stuff like that. Just because they don't believe in you doesn't mean that it's not going to work.